If you're watching this right now, you're probably thinking about selling your used camera gear, DSLR, lenses, tripod, etc. And that is exactly what this video is about, how to sell your used camera gear. I've been there too, and this is something that all the photography enthusiasts or even professional photographers will encounter over the years. Especially nowadays with new technologies coming out every now and then, the turnover rate of camera and gears are faster than ever. Well, unless you have enough budgets to keep all of the gears that you ever used. Obviously, I don't have the luxury to do that yet, so I want to share my experience on how I sell my used camera gear. In the first part of the video, I'll go through a checklist that I use before putting myself out there to sell my used camera gear. And on the second part of this video, I'll go through the platforms that you can use to sell your used camera gear. Number 1 on the checklist, find the box. Alright, so the very first thing I do is to go back and find the original box that came with it. I usually keep the box of the expensive camera gear that I purchased in case I like to sell it later. Whenever you sell your used camera gears with the original package and box, people usually appreciate that, and you can potentially charge higher for it, because the potential buyer will usually be more confident when the merchandise presents well and the seller seems to be meticulous. So it feels like you took good care of the item, and it also reinforces the idea that you were the original owner. At the end of the day, the goal for the buyers is to snag the best camera gear they can find. That is exactly why by having your used camera gear in the original package is highly recommended. Number 2 on the checklist, clean your camera gear. Before I pack my used camera gear, I would start cleaning my gears with this brush tool, microfiber cloth, and this air blower. You can find these camera cleaning tools easily online for a very good price, maybe under 10 bucks with the whole kit. And make sure you're using microfiber cloth so it doesn't destroy your lens or the back of your LCD screens. Just saying. So while you're cleaning your used camera gear, that brings us to number 3 on the checklist. Inspect your used camera gear. I would always inspect the gears thoroughly after I clean the gears. This way, when I'm writing the description for the used camera gear that I want to sell, I can be upfront and honest about it. When you're writing the description of your used camera gear, make sure that you include everything, such as scuffs, dents, or malfunctions if there's any. Also include the items that you are gonna be selling together with it. Because selling individual accessories is harder, so try to sell in bulk. This way you'll be able to sell for a higher price as well. For example, if you're listing on Craigslist, try to combine all of the accessories that applies to your used camera, such as spare batteries, camera straps, extra kit lens that goes with it, or a battery grip. Number 4 on the checklist, reset everything. If you're selling a used camera, don't forget to reset your camera to factory setting because we all configure our cameras according to our shooting styles. If someone buys this used camera that I'm selling and they're not familiar with the settings that I have set in there, they might be confused and thought that there's something wrong with the camera. So you definitely want to minimize that kind of confusion from your potential buyers in order to save you the time to explain to them why. Number 5 on the checklist is to give your used camera gear a photo shoot. This is when product photography comes in handy. Personally, when I shop online for used gears and I see a blurry photo of the product or not enough angles of the product, I would suspect something is not right about it. It's probably not right to judge a book by its cover, but I just don't feel comfortable about it. If there's any dents, scratches, scuffs, or if there's a function that's not working properly on the used camera gear, be upfront about it. It's a lot easier to sell your used camera gear if you're truthful about it in the very first place. Number 6 on the checklist is to do some market research. You want to know approximately how much your used camera gear is worth right now at this moment before listing it online. You may be pleasantly surprised or disappointed by the numbers that you find online. This reality check gives you an idea on the range of what you can expect to get and how much to list your used camera gear. Oftentimes in the used section, there will be ratings such as mint condition, excellent condition, like new, and very good. So I'll rate the used camera gear and check for the average price of that gear. I will also go through Amazon's used section, eBay or Craigslist as well if you live in the States. just to see what other people are selling it for. You want to come up with a fair and accurate price and a price floor that you're not willing to go under. Doing this upfront prevents potential buyers that sweet talk their way through the selling process if you're meeting them in person. Expect people to haggle and counter offer over dollars and cents. We will get into more details about that later in this video. So after all of that, now I have a rough idea on how much I will want to sell my used camera gear, which brings us to number 7, pick a platform. This is the time to decide which platform I want to use to sell my used camera gear. It could be just one, or if you want to list them on multiple platforms, there are tons of platforms to sell your used camera gear on, and I'll go through them briefly here. There's really no perfect platform to sell your camera gear on, in my opinion. Use the one that you feel most comfortable with and go with it. The first one is your local camera store. This is probably the easiest one. You walk in with the used camera gear you want to sell, and they expect it to give you a quote. And then you can negotiate or accept their offer and walk away with the store credit or check. It's a very simple process without having to do much work here, such as photograph your gears, list it online, and then do the shipping and payments by yourself, but you'll get the least of money out of it. So a long time ago, I took my Canon 6D Mark I to the local camera store and have them to inspect and give me a quote on it. The guy that works there was very patient and nice about it. After he inspected, he was like, "Hey buddy, if you're not in a hurry to get money from this camera body, then I would suggest you to sell this camera body somewhere else. You're gonna get a lot more out of it." So I took my camera and thanked the guy and walked away. The second one is B&H and Adorama. These two are very well known, but the price they offer are usually very low, almost the same as your local camera store. Maybe a bit higher. I can't remember. You can use their online quote calculator or over the phone with the real person, and they offer free shipping. So yeah, I wouldn't really recommend you guys selling your used camera gear on this platform. If you guys have any experience selling on these two platforms, please let me know. I would love to hear your insights. The third one is KEH Camera. I've seen many professional photographers selling their used camera gear on here. You can input your gears for a preliminary quote on their website, and they'll give you a shipping and printing label for you to pack and send your gears to them. Once they have your gears, they'll inspect your gears again. Where's my magnifier? They'll inspect your gears again for a final quote. If you deny the quote, they'll send your gears back with free shipping. So I went to their website, and the quote I got from the online calculator was pretty close to what I was expecting on selling my used gears. So I decided to ship my gears over to give it a try. Overall, the process is very simple and I didn't have to spend much time on it. Number 4 is eBay. I used to work for this eBay seller that sells ping pong related products. The whole process of buying and selling is not hard at all, but I think the hardest part is to build a seller's rating, or even buyer's rating, I believe. People are more likely to bid on your item if you have a good amount of sales with good ratings. You can probably get a decent price using this option since you can set a minimum price and let people to bid on it. However, you need to take the time to shoot and upload quality photos of your used camera gear and high seller ratings so people can be confident enough to bid and buy from you. After all that, you will then list and ship your used camera gear after you make the sale. So I didn't go with eBay because I didn't want to take the time to build up my seller's rating. Overall, it's just too much of a hassle for me. The fifth one is Amazon. I'm not very familiar selling used camera gear on Amazon, but from what I heard, you can actually get more from Amazon than from eBay. So if you have experience selling used camera gear on Amazon, let me know in the comment section down below, and would you recommend using this platform to sell your used camera gear? The sixth one is Craigslist. I personally use Craigslist many times to sell and buy used camera gear. It's very easy to list on there. The process is fairly simple for you to post on their website. There's no required fees. You don't have to pay for the listings that you make for your used camera gear. I found that I was able to get a pretty decent price for my used camera gear most of the time. However, there's a few downsides selling on Craigslist. You have to meet with strangers in person. Please be smart about it, guys. Always meet at a well-populated public location. This could be a local coffee shop or supermarket. There will be some buyers who are not very serious about it. Some might even make a ridiculously low offer to you. If this happens, don't waste your time, just walk away. Here's 2 strategies that I've tried before and it works pretty well. The first one is to post and say that price is firm, no haggle on price. The second one is to post higher than your intended selling price. This way, when people start to haggle with you, you can actually bring down the price a bit or maybe meet them halfway so they can feel that they have the advantage over it. Another downside would be that it might take a long time for your used camera gear to sell. So if you're in need of money, this is probably not the best option to go with. There you have it. I hope the checklist gives you guys a rough idea on how to sell your used camera gear. If you guys have any insights or interesting experience selling your used camera gear, don't forget to leave a comment down below. I would love to hear them. Don't forget to hit that like button on your way out and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.